Hey, Daydreamer, I want to talk to you about something that has been swirling around in my head in group chats, my coaching calls, and social media. It's the question, what does it actually mean to have a personal brand in 2025? And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of branding tips that only scratch the surface. Pick a color palette, use Canva, stay on trend, post 3 times a week, and I'm over it. I'm bored of it. And today I want to talk about some personal branding tips and trends, but I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to talk about the kind that's rooted in purpose, not performance, and the kind that people feel when they interact with you, not just the kind that they see. So, this episode is about building a personal brand that is absolutely magnetic in 2025 and how you can make sure that it reflects not just what you do, but who you are. And if this episode resonates with you as you're listening, I want to invite you to come to my workshop in July. It's July 17th, 2025, down here at my studio in Duluth, Minnesota. It's a Thursday evening, and we are going to come together for this workshop called No Backup Plan. At this event, what we're going to do is come together. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have swag bags. We're going to have like group discussions, a presentation that I'm going to give, and we're basically going to go over my Daydreamer 12 framework that I've been developing over the last year. And what you're going to learn is how to identify what your daydream is, where you want to be heading, and then we're going to reverse engineer that. So instead of building towards the goal, we're going to imagine that we already are living that version of ourselves in the future and work backwards from it. I find that to be a much more efficient process in accomplishing your goal and reaching that daydream that you have been working towards a lot faster. So I'm really excited. I want to invite you to that. If that is sparking something in you, make sure to go down to the first link in the description and grab your ticket. Tickets are on sale right now, and there's only 50 spots. They're $27, and I just cannot wait to see you there. So make sure to grab your ticket to No Backup Plan today. Okay, now let's get into the episode. Welcome, Daydreamer. This is the Living Your Daydream podcast, and in this show, we quest together through seasons of life and business. I'm Asher James, a photographer, filmmaker, and creative business mentor, and my hope is that this show helps you settle into a place of peace and comfort in a world that attempts to distract us from what really matters, setting a healthy foundation for us to take big action on our goals and to achieve the life we've always dreamed of. As you listen, I invite you to join in on conversations with me that I have with industry friends, reflect on new ideas and inspirations, and apply this knowledge to design a life that I and you have always dreamed of. This is the Living Your Daydream podcast. Okay, so what is personal branding? I think that it's more about what you do and who you are. It's the type of person that you are. It's not about your brand colors or your portfolio or your offers. It's the vibe that you give off. Your brand is bigger than you. Your brand is larger than your individual identity. It's more about your community, your values, and your emotional impact. So if you're a photographer that is early in your career, you might be thinking to yourself something that I thought when I was in your shoes. I don't even know what my brand is, and I don't even know what I want it to be, right? And here's a little secret. Your audience often mirrors your brand. So they're going to look like you and you're going to look like them, right? To a certain extent. They're going to look like your brand and it's going to mirror back the people that you're wanting to attract, right? So sometimes when we look in the mirror, we only see the things that we want to work on. You know, we don't see who we are or, you know, what we think we've built as our image. So it's really hard to reflect on this. It's weird even, but I think that it's worth setting some time aside to do. So here's what I've been doing to dial in my personal brand and even dialing in the copy that's on my website that's helping to strengthen my brand voice and attract the ideal clients that I'm looking for. So the first place to look, of course, is your own clients. I want you to look at your inquiry emails. I want you to look at any prior communications from clients that you've had. What do they ask you? Okay. What are they looking for? Maybe try recording your discovery calls, your sales calls, and then reading it back to see how clients describe what they're looking for. I want you to maybe try recording yourself, talking about your brand, talking about your offers, talking about, you know, your values and why you do what you do. And you could even do this just by yourself. So sometimes it's easier to just riff off the top of your head than it is to stare at a blank text box on your website. So, really quick, just open up your phone, hit record, and just start talking, right? And if that feels too weird, if you're getting a little bit of self stage fright, no problem. Call up a friend, ask them to interview you about your brand and about your business. Give them a list of questions to ask you, but also tell them that they can come up with some of their own in the call too. What you'll start to notice is some keywords and phrases that you'll use over and over again. Maybe some are cliche that you could use a little bit of work going deeper on. But for the most part, you're going to find that you have a clear voice and it's just something that you've been second guessing or deeming not unique enough, But trust me, it probably is. So on this note, I want you to pay attention to how people interact with you too. Do they trust you? Do they rely on you for direction? Do they ask you questions? I want you to write those down. Make a mental note of when someone is giving you feedback, at the reception, and they're telling you about how much you made their day by working with them. I want you to know that you're going to see this in your Google reviews too. So if you're not asking for people to leave you Google reviews, make sure that you do. And remember, your brand is about how you make people feel. It's not just about what you do, right? So, okay, I'm going to jump into some research that I have been gathering up for us on personal branding in 2025. What are the trends? What are we noticing? And what are audiences attracted to? So this shouldn't come to any surprise to you. We're in an era of algorithm fatigue on social media everywhere. We're in the middle of a trust crisis online. Scams, AI generated content, influencer burnout, and it's all leading to one thing. People are craving depth. People are craving depth, not just more content, but more meaningful connections with their favorite inspiring creators. Okay. So they want to go deeper with us as individuals. Okay. So one of my favorite thought leaders on this is Jenna Kutcher, and she has this concept of going deeper, not wider. And when she mentioned this on her Gold Digger podcast, she was talking about business, going deeper on your one offer instead of spreading yourself out thinner and going wider with multiple offers. But the same is true when it comes to our customers, our buyers, and our clients. They are wanting to go deeper with their favorite creators, their favorite podcasters, authors, coaches, photographers. You get the point. So how do they choose someone to go deeper with in their content? In a Forbes article titled 9 Personal Branding Trends for 2025, William Arruda names something that he names this exact shift, right? And he's calling 2025 the year that requires us to lead with purpose, authenticity, and personal resonance. Here's a quote from Arruda: "Your personal brand is your legacy." Okay, so we're no longer building brands to impress people. We're building brands to connect with them and to make that lasting connection, right? That lasting difference. So your brand isn't about your outfit. It's more about your aura, right? It's about what people feel when they step into your orbit, when they're in a room with you. So here's where we're going to begin. Not with your niche, not with your logo, but with your why. Okay, so let's jump into talking about this first trend. What I think is one of the most important ones, and that is building a purpose-driven brand. So according to Jesse Danny Youssef in Don't Build a Personal Brand in 2025, Build a Purpose-Driven Movement instead, Jesse says, people are done with surface level, personal brands. They want movement, they want mission statements, they want meaning in the work. And if your brand is all polish, but no substance, it's going to be forgettable. But if your brand has a heart to it, it's going to become unignorable. So I want to ask you something. What's the emotional thread running through everything that you do? For me, whether I'm photographing a wedding out in the woods, or if I'm coaching a new photographer through their first 10K month, the through line is the same. I want to help you live your dreams. That's my purpose, right? I want to help you live your dreams. That's why the show is called Living Your Daydream. So what's yours? What's the stake that you're putting in the ground? And don't just ask, what do I want to be known for? Ask, what do I want people to feel changed by? That is going to lead you forward, and that is where the magic is. Okay, next up is voice and video. They are taking over, which again shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We've watched Instagram completely change itself to favor videos over photos, especially when it comes to discoverability. So, according to that same Forbes article I was talking about, video posts on LinkedIn get 3 times more engagement than static ones. Video posts on LinkedIn get 3 times more engagement than static ones. And an Edison research report says that 47% of Americans 12 and older now listen to podcasts monthly, up from 41% in 2021. So why? I think it's because voice builds trust faster than just text. And you're hearing me right now. That means that we've already built more intimacy and more of a relationship than if I just sent you an email or you read a caption on social media with the same words. So video and voice content humanize you. It gives people the like, oh, I get them effect, right? Like I get their vibe. It turns your followers into clients and those clients into a community. And in case you're wondering if this applies to you, whether you're a photographer, a coach, running any kind of small business, it absolutely does. And if you want your brand to stand out in a scroll obsessed world, then your voice has to be a part of that experience. So think about this. Maybe start a carousel, maybe it's a reel, maybe it's just a carousel, with video in it that you then post or you post on your IG stories. Maybe you make a behind the scenes reel, right, to show what you're working on. Or you finally just launch that podcast that you've been sitting on and thinking about forever. Because your brand deserves to sound like you. People deserve to engage with you, not just look at you, not just read the ideas, right? So that brings me to the next trend, which is the return of human connection in learning. So during the pandemic, everyone went asynchronous, right? We all bought the courses, we watched the modules, and we forgot to finish them, right? But now the pendulum is swinging back. Platforms like Maven, Circle, School, or my own Daydreamers community for creatives are thriving because people want cohort-based, community-led, real-time learning. And it's changing how we show up as educators and service providers too. So if you're building a personal brand around teaching, whether maybe you're selling presets, coaching calls, or full-blown courses, people don't just want more information. They're going to want transformation, actual results. And that transformation is going to happen in community with one another. So in 2025, your brand isn't just about delivering value. It's going to be about curating these experiences. You're not just an expert anymore. You need to be the guide. You need to be their host, and you need to be the facilitator of belonging to this community. So start thinking about some of these things. How can you blend your self-paced content with live touch points? So maybe that's doing coaching calls or check-ins, midweek mixers, all things I do inside my Daydreamers community. If you want to join, link is down in the description of the episode. Maybe you want to make your learning spaces feel more like actual spaces. So what does that look like? Again, for me, that's like hosting those midweek mixers, but also having more in-person events too. Encouraging people to connect with one another. So that brings me to the third point I want you to think about, which is how can you encourage peer support and momentum inside of your offer, right? Maybe that's having like a community for your clients. Maybe that is hosting an event, a social, whatever it is. This is how you're going to make your brand stand out and be unforgettable. Okay, so let's move on to number 4, which might be my favorite. So the best personal brands in 2025, they are going to be imperfect on purpose. So according to Aruda, people are no longer drawn to polished authority. They're drawn to relatable honesty. That means showing your in-person moments, your pivots, your before and afters. And you don't need to be an expert who knows everything. You just need to be the human who's walking the path. So think about this. How much more magnetic is someone who says, I'm still figuring this out, but here's what I've learned, versus someone that says and acts like they have the answers to everything. So personal brands that are going to win in 2025 are going to be the ones that let people in, not just to the highlight reel, but to the real human. Okay? Not just to the highlight reel, but to the real human. Those are going to be the brands that win. So if you're showing up online, try this. Try sharing something that you're still learning. Try talking about a time maybe when you got something wrong. Or post a behind the scenes moment before it's perfect, right? Tell people, bring them into what you're working on. People don't want you to perform to them. They want you to be real with them and bring them in along the journey. And what's real is what is going to be what converts. So if you didn't know, something that I've been working on to grow my own personal brand and connect in community is my very first workshop. It's called No Backup Plan, and it's not just an event. It is going to be your call to action. So let's rewind for a second. A few months ago, I was having a conversation with a few creatives and friends and business owners and freelancers and people just like you and me. And the same themes kept surfacing. What are you feeling? People are feeling burnout, lack of clarity, the feeling of being in motion but not really going anywhere, right? Like being busy but not making progress. And so one night I was sitting in my living room chair, kind of frustrated, kind of inspired, and I just started writing. I ended up writing what would eventually become No Backup Plan, because for many of us, I think that that's what we've committed to, whether we've admitted it to ourselves out loud or not. We're not trying to go backwards. We're not trying to hedge our bets. We are building the thing that we're dreaming of because we have to, because it's the thing. And that is what this workshop is going to be all about. So what is No Backup Plan? It's a one-night in-person event happening here on Thursday, July 17th at 6 p.m., downtown Duluth, Minnesota, in my studio in the Bagley building. We're going to come together, creatives, founders, dreamers, doers, and we're going to do 3 things. 1, we're going to get honest about where we're at and what's not working. Then we're going to declare one clear goal that we're going to pursue for the next 12 weeks. And finally, we're going to build a plan that actually makes it happen. This workshop isn't about 5-year vision casting or New Year's resolutions. It's about choosing your next step right now and making it count. I'm going to be walking you through my brand new Daydreamer 12 framework, something that I have been using to grow my business, and I've been documenting along the way. It's how I'm launching new offers. It's actually how I'm launching this offer in this event. And it helps me stay grounded through chaotic seasons. So at this event, you're going to leave with a goal, a plan, and a renewed sense of focus. And then we're going to celebrate. So there's going to be a DJ, drinks, connection, intention in this community. And this event's going to be part strategy, part party, right? And the price is only $27, and there's only 50 spots total. And we've sold out about 1/5 to 2/5 of those so far. So make sure that you go and grab your spot, because we are a few weeks away still. And I know everyone is going to be getting their ticket probably in that last week. So don't wait. Make sure to get yours right now. You can head to the first link in the description to grab your ticket. Bring a friend, show up as you are. Let's make this happen, and let's make your dreams happen for you with some purpose. Because when you stop playing small, when you stop hedging, when you act like there's no backup plan, that is when everything is going to shift for you. So, personal branding. What does this all mean for you? It means that the personal brand you're building isn't just about visibility and virality. It's about your legacy. It's about knowing your why and leading with that, letting people hear you, connect with you, not just read you. You know, it's about creating experiences, not just products. It's about showing up human and imperfect and is just as beautiful as you are. Whether you're a wedding photographer with a side strategy, side hustle, a multi-hyphenate artist with a big dream, your brand can hold all of you, right? And if you build it with purpose, people are going to feel that, and they're going to trust it, and they're going to want to be a part of it. Because the future of personal branding isn't about standing out. It's about standing for something and standing with your community. So, hey, if this episode lit a fire under you, if you're still sitting here thinking, Asher, okay, it's time for me to stop hiding and start showing up, then you can find a free guide to designing your own purpose-driven brand in 2025 down in the description of the episode. That is also where you can get your ticket to No Backup Plan, and if you want, where you can join my Daydreamers community, which is free. So this personal guide framework is a fun and flexible framework that's meant for creative entrepreneurs. And I'd love for you to check that out. It's a free guide that I made for you, like I said, link below. And if you love this conversation, please, please, please send this episode to someone who's building something real this year. It's one of the only ways that you can really, truly help a podcast like this grow is by sharing it with friends. So that's how we're going to do it. One podcast episode, one friend, one DM at a time. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one.